Alright, cool. Alright, so 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smurf!
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to, I believe this is the first racing game of the marathon. I'm not 100% sure, correct me on that, but definitely the first Need for Speed. This is Need for Speed Carbon. We're gonna be breaking this wide open before the run even starts. Everything's unlocked. This is a safe glitch I did before the marathon. Unfortunately, we didn't much have time to actually show off how you set that up, but I'm gonna be explaining that during the run. So I'm ready to go whenever. I'm guessing I call out the timer. I'm not 100% sure on that, so guessing the timer is not handled by me. So 3, 2, 1, and go. So immediate little lore catch up. The game before this was Need for Speed Most Wanted, and at the end of that we became the Most Wanted. So now we return to another city. We return to racing. The guy was previously police chief in the city that we kind of became the Most Wanted in. He's cross. He's now a bounty hunter. He wants us. We're down a quick chase in the canyon. That was not an optimal corner. But it is a racing game, and so you might be like, okay, so racing games, what's the big point about racing games? The point is already to go fast. The thing is, racing as fast as possible is actually harder than you expect, so just stick around. Fortunately, you don't get to see actual much racing in this category, because this category is, we do the prologue, which is, we just did part 1 or 3 in the prologue, and then we warp straight to the end of the game, but more on that later. So speaking of prologue, we just completed part 1 out of 3. This was cross. This was like the canyon chase at the start. Part 2 out of 3, which we're leading in right here after we select our car class, and in this case there are different car classes. There's Muscle, Exotics, and Tuners. We're gonna select Tuners because that's gonna make the final battle that we're gonna warp straight to the end a little bit easier, because the other cars are a bit harder for what we're gonna do later. So now we're in tutorial. This guy,
Nikki's good. Just listen to her.
Neville, some guy on the ESA member YouTube channel that commented on my run VOD for that said I look like him. Unfortunately, we can't prove that because I'm not using a webcam right now. But just wanted to. Oh my god! I messed up my save file setup. I enabled speech. Whoops, that can happen. Alright. I was supposed to enable the in-game music, not the speech. Disabling speech, that immediately leads into the tutorial. Disabling speech makes these text boxes go a little bit faster. Normally the game would wait until until Nikki stops talking. Nikki, you know, the car next to us right now. Please don't crash, Nikki. Thank you. But what Nikki is doing here is she's gonna explain us how the crew system works in this game. Basically, in this game, when you're normally racing during normal gameplay, you're supposed to have a crew member alongside with you. And there's 3 different crew members. There's blockers, scouts, there's blockers, drafters, and scouts. In that order, what Nikki will show you. Block is happening right now. Nikki just wants to touch Neville for a second here. Insert joke here, but whatever. There you go. You can see it in the rear mirror. Block complete. Pretty good block. You can sometimes align Nikki right up to Neville. And get an instant block, but that's really risky because that can lead to Nikki and Neville crashing on that shortcut. But now it's time for drafting. We just want to get inside her little blue draft zone at the end, just disable her as soon as we can. That's draft done. And for Scout, there's a really weird thing about Scout where the final text box is appearing right now. This is the final text box, but I have to wait because the trigger when we can actually go over a shortcut to finish Scout, it's actually not linked to the final text box. It's linked to the speech that's disabled right now. So we actually have to wait until the muted speech in the background stops playing, which we don't know because speech is off to make the other text boxes go faster. But that's just a rough guess right now with me slowing down there right now. You can risk it, but if you risk it, you have to take the shortcut over here, which is, you can see it on the mouse, which is really slow, loses like 20 seconds. But that's tutorial done. Unfortunately, we're not going to do any more crew racing this game. That's it. We're just going to do a little chase down the highway, which is part 3 out of 3 in prologue, which is what we call escape. Basically, Neville invites us to go on some trouble on the highway, and we're going to go into like a little scripted police chase. There's just going to be 3, really, basically paper police cars. They're not even original tier 1 police cars. They're sort of like paper police cars. They die as fast as you can. But killing them manually is actually not the fastest strat. The fastest strat is to get a truck on the way to the safe house we're supposed to go, because after the chase is over, Neville's like says, hey, meet me up at the safe house, right? But we already know where that safe house is gonna be. It's not like randomized or anything, it's a fixed spot on the map. So on the way to that, we want to get a truck, hit that truck so that its cargo drops on the floor. That cargo generates an area of effect where cops immediately die, and so we don't have to slow down at all on the way. However, if we get that truck a little bit too early, then the chase is gonna end before we get to the safe house, and Neville's gonna send us the SMS message that we should meet up, and that loses around a second. So optimally, we want the truck to happen around here. Unfortunately, it's not looking very good for a truck here. So we're gonna have to wait at the safe house, if we even get a truck at all. There it is. Unfortunately, a lock truck, you get stuck underneath those, so I have to do this. Oh, there's a car truck right there. But that's fine, that's a decent escape. Could have gone better. So now we just drive down the highway. If there's a quick donation, get it in right now, because glitches will be happening very soon.
Yes, really quick about the glitches. We have a glitch exhibition incentive for this game, so if you want to see this game broken top to bottom, like, donate quickly. This run is over very soon. It's
Yeah,
20 bucks.
if you want to see this game even more broken, then donate. So now that the escape is done, we just wait on top of the trigger for the safe house, and it immediately ends the chase. Escape is done. Now, pardon me for the hidden word in that, but beep is going down. Because this is where the heaviest glitch part of the run starts. Remember, earlier I said we have everything unlocked. That is a glitch you set up by getting your final car in career mode busted at any stage during career. And that, essentially, like, if you get your last car impounded, that triggers a game over screen. If you exit out on that game over screen to main menu, it resets the career, but not the unlocks. We actually have everything unlocked in here. Unfortunately, we can't just buy the best car, because there's also cash in this game. Ignore everything that's going on in here, we don't care about this. But that allows us to buy a pro engine upgrade for the car we have right now with exactly the money we have at the start of the career, 15,000. After that, we're gonna be doing the wrong work. So now that this tutorial is done over, we're gonna swap into the customization menu. It's gonna put us immediately in the warp map, but like it's like meant to be like, hey, do some races. But no, we're going immediately in customization. Get us that pro engine upgrade. We really want that. Set it to horsepower because it gives us more acceleration, but doesn't actually it reduce our top speed. Save our save file here. Load back a different save file, because this is New Game Plus. We can use different save files. And this is the wrong warp. Go into Quick Race. Select the final canyon duel of the game, Eternity Pass, in Quick Race. Normally, if you just go in there, it's supposed to just, you know, load a Quick Race battle. But now we do something really specific. We go in Career Mode Free Roam. You might also notice we spawned somewhere completely else. This is a call-out. Remember that, like, all unlock glitch I talked about? Well, if you go to a call-out before you get your final car impounded, it also saves your free roam location. So I did that, and even throughout all the, like, career, like, reset and like prologue and everything, it saves that free roam location. We enter an event from free roam, change our active crew member, and the game gets confused and actually loads the last track you selected in Quick Race. But because that's Eternity Pass, the game thinks with the final canyon duel of the game. This is it. This is the final of the game in like 8 minutes or so. I don't know exactly the timer. There you go. So you can beat the game with that from the start of the game. The problem is, there's one tiny challenge left. You might notice this car here. This is an R8. This is kind of like a supercar. I think it's like 300 grand too in real life. We're driving an RX-8. I mean, it's close, but yeah, this is gonna be a little bit challenging. So, we also skipped a canyon tutorial cutscene, which is supposed to start playing when you get your first canyon duel in career mode, but we skipped that by just going into a canyon in Quick Race before starting the career. Something you also didn't see, because we didn't have time for save game setup. So, here's the explanation of how canyon duels work. You might have already noticed in the top right part, there is a point counter, and that point counter increases or decreases, well, increases in stage 1, the closer I am to Darius. And that doesn't work on a linear scale, but actually works on based on what bracket I'm in right now. So like if I'm in the like topmost bracket, I gain the most amount of points. you can see the point stops immediately as soon as I'm 80 meters away, but like if I get 79 meters away, it starts going again. That's how the point system works. So you're supposed to finish stage 1, your points get saved, and then you go into stage 2 where Darius actually chases you, and then you lose your points, depending on how close Darius is to you. But you can actually skip all of this, because if you overtake your opponent in a stage 1 duel, you actually win the canyon duel immediately. And you might be like, how can you overtake Darius? Well, this is where, if you get a pretty good hairpin, which I did there, Darius slows down here sometimes, but unfortunately it's not looking like it, no. So Darius, on this very long left 180 here, can actually slow down enough that you can overtake him. It is incredibly, incredibly rare, but it has never happened in a marathon run before. But unfortunately that means we're going to stage 2. We're going to have to be doing what's known as the brake check, because you might be like, oh yeah, Darius has a supercar, and like, how is he not speeding ahead, by the way? That's another question you might have, because in this game there's rubber band. So like, the slower your car is, the more sort of the eye of rubber bands, and that also works in, like, that's reverse rubber band. Normally rubber band is supposed to like make the eye catch up to you, but in this game there's also reverse rubber band, where if you have a really slow car, the eye sort of like gets a slower car too. That's why Darius' A8 is much slower. R8. So you can see the points I got in stage 1 now got saved, and now we're in stage 2. But we're not gonna have enough points to reach the finish line in stage 2 with more than 0 points, not going in a negative, because Darius is just too fast. So what we're gonna do about this? There is a little mechanic in canyon duels where the chasing car, right now that is Darius. Right now we are being chased, and Darius is a chasing car. The chasing car is not supposed to sort of like hit the chase car. If you want to overtake, you're supposed to do it cleanly. In stage 1, that means if I manage to hit Darius, I don't want to, but if I hit him, I would lose 5,000 points in stage 1. In stage 2, this means if Darius hits me, I gain 5,000 points, and we can abuse that by just slowing down and letting Darius hit us. The problem about that is that Darius really plays aggressive when he like is being forced to play slow. He wants to overtake you, he wants to like suddenly swerves left and right. So it is incredibly hard. You can easily get overtaken by Darius if you don't pay attention. And we're gonna have to start it right here on the straight, because I did not get enough points on stage 1. So here we go. Pay close attention to the river mirror. If I mess this up, this is game over. I have to do stage 1 and stage 2 all over again. This is hard focus time right here. But time's coming up if I do this, so looking good. Looking really good. That's it. Time's coming up. Alright, time's coming up when this cutscene at the end ends. I'm gonna let it play for style points, because it's obviously not a world record. Time in 3, 2, 1, time. And that's how you beat Need for Speed Carbon in like 12 minutes, I believe. That's gotta be like 12 minutes.
Yeah, you know, all those days where people, you know, would spend all day just, you know, grinding Need for Speed, and, you know, here it is.
Just beat the game in 12 minutes, right? So, one thing I want to call out here quickly is that the ending cutscene of the game has a quote by Darius. Darius tells you something. And it's supposed to be sort of like a quote in relation to racing, like game, it's like in video game, right? But when you actually like extrapolate it to speedrunning, just imagine if Darius talks to you from one speedrunner to another. It becomes one of the most meta ending to his speedruns ever. I just like to call out this every time. Just imagine Darius talks to you as a speedrunner, and you will understand.
The keys are in the car. Enjoy it while it lasts. There's always someone out there who's a little faster than you are. And sooner or later, they're gonna catch up.
So, in case the game audio is too quiet, which some people always complain that the cutscenes play too quiet in this game, what Darius said there is, enjoy it while it lasts. There's always gonna be someone out there faster than you are. And sooner or later, they're gonna catch up. When you apply that to a speedrunning sense, it just becomes one of the most meta ending to speed games, because, hey, if you don't continue playing your speed games, what's gonna happen? Obviously someone else is gonna take your spot, right? And it's just such a motivating quote at the end of a run too, right? You might be like, hey, you might just have PB it, and Darius is like, hey, do better, right? Do better. So the actual credits in this game are pretty boring. So if we met that glitch exhibition goal, then now that would be the time. Let's hope. Please, please, please. Did we meet it?
Yeah, I am gonna have you do that.
We met it?
Well, I actually have to make an exception here. We do have. It would need $20 more, but I also need to buy a little more time.
Oh, you need to buy time. Oh.
Yeah, for Giz to get a little comfy.
Oh no, but that feels a little bit dirty. But if that's your decision, that's your decision.
Honestly, I won't even hide it. Like, yeah, it kind of is a little. But I apparently like miscommunicated a little. They thought like the categories were switched.
Oh.
So I guess they weren't like exactly prepared to go like at this moment. So.
Alright, so they need
that okay with you?
They need like 10 minutes more.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me think. Maybe there's something. No, this is already the shortest category. So I guess the only thing I can do is show off some stuff. So let me load up the Hunter save file. Joe, that may being a little bit dirty here. You might notice I have an RX-8 on this Hunter save file too. That's for practice, but let's switch over to a little bit better car here, right? This is my Corvette. I have some vinyl tuning on it.
Unfortunately, chess isn't the only time that I pull out, some dirty tactics.
Oh, right, you play chess. Alright. Actually, no, I'm gonna go on the normal save file, just to show this off quickly, but I'm gonna swap over to the Hunter save file, sort of like a reverse wrong warp. So this is the save file we just completed, by the way. So there is a track that is actually available from the start of the game. This doesn't unlock when you beat the game. It's available from the start, and that is the Lucky Tower Circuit Race. Let's select that, right? Because in this game, the bosses, like Darius, for example, are actually meant to be a two-stage battle. They're meant to be a city canyon duel. And then a canyon duel. Not a city canyon. I mean a city circuit duel with 2 laps, and then a canyon duel. So it might be like, hey, couldn't we like one warp to Lucky Towers, just one warp to like the circuit race, and we wouldn't need all this New Game Plus stuff. We could do this new game from a fresh save file, and it even plays the cutscene. Like, how close can you get, right? It plays the cutscene, and like we found this out. And the first time I saw this cutscene doing the wrong way, I was like, oh my god! I just cut the category in half. Unfortunately, this is what the Need for Speed community calls the blue ball. Because in this game, there's a failsafe, and there's supposed to be 2 more races before this. If you don't complete those, well, you might notice something about this race, and that Darius is just not here. If you don't complete the 2 races before the final duel of the game, which is supposed to be like a rematch against all the old bosses, you actually fail. It sort of like triggers a failsafe in the game, where the game is like, hey, wait a second, what's going on? The exact technical explanation for this is, would you please stabilize yourself, car? The exact technical explanation for that glitch is that the game actually, wrong warping is actually sort of taking some data from the quick race we selected, including the bin to load racers from. And in Eternity Pass, that works because if you select Eternity Pass Quick Race, one of the bosses one of the AI you can actually battle there is Darius himself, so it doesn't freak out. But in Lucky Towers, there is no AI for there's sort of like in that bin for Quick Race racers, there is no Darius. So when the game tries to spawn in Darius on Lucky Towers Wrong Warp, it just kind of freaks out and says, hey, wait a second, we don't have a Darius here, right? So it just despawns him. Really unfortunate, but you might be like, okay, couldn't we like just finish this race? Also, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to finish this race to show off what happens afterwards, because you can actually just finish races. You can just finish this race, and it like still says you won, and that's because of you being able to do sort of like individual level runs in this game. You just select no opponents. So what the game's actually thinking of right now is we're in a quick race. As weird as it is to think that, holy crap, traffic. Yeah, there's also traffic in this game in normal runs, but you don't see it in New Game Plus because there's just no normal tracks. So in Eternity Plus Canyon Duel, it's like the game is like what we did earlier. The game is sort of like in this weird glitch state where it thinks it's in a quick race and career mode at the same time, and it just kind of works out to play the actual credits. But this is a completely different glitched state because the failsafe is active. The failsafe actually sort of carries over. So it tries to load Darius's AI from the same quick race spin. And if you've paid attention to what I said earlier, you might know what that means. But first of all, same cutscene again. So when we found out about all of this, we saw this cutscene playing. We were like, oh wait, maybe we can actually finish this, right? But again, foreshadowing, because these are just cutscenes. These are in-game rendered cutscenes. These are not like video. These are actually rendered cutscenes. But in this game, they're just the rendered cutscene is basically just a string of information saying like, hey, put this car in this position, put this character in this position, maybe switch over to some facial expressions, right? But like, once the cutscene ends, you can probably guess what happens. It's the same thing as in the circuit race. Darius disappears. And when you don't have an AI in the Canyon Duel, the game freaks out because there is no... if you're not supposed to not have AI in a Canyon Duel sort of like... They expected you to always have a AI in a Canyon Duel. So you might be like, oh yeah, we can just finish stage 1 with 0 points, right? And then go to stage 2 again with 0 points and maybe finish the game that way, right? So let's show off that quickly. But before we do that, I just want to show off one more thing. And that's, if you don't have an opponent in a Canyon Duel, the game over barriers also don't exist. You can just drive off here, see ya. You can just drive off the canyon and just resets you. Normally, if you do that in a normal Canyon Duel with AI, the game just game over to you, says you crash off the canyon. So, fortunately, all I can do at this point, I don't really have much more to explain about this glitch right here. But there are many artists if we really need more time. Unfortunately, like all of the glitches to show off in this game, they take some time to set up. So if we still have time after this, then I can show off an out of bounds and how to get into the canyon in free roam. But let's first of all finish this. So you might be like, oh yeah, stage 1, 0 points. We can just go in stage 2 with 0 points. The thing is though, if you go in stage 1, if you finish stage 1 with 0 points, another sort of like failsafe kicks in, where the game thinks, oh, you just lost stage 2, and you lose the entire Canyon Duel immediately, so not even this way you can finish the game. It is very unfortunate because, again, you can reach this point from a fresh save file, no New Game Plus needed, and yeah, it is incredibly unfortunate because if this didn't happen, we could beat the original game with no save file trickery in no time, basically. So do we still have time left over or no? Or is the next one already?
How long's the next one you wanted to show?
The next one would just be like 2 minutes, just a quick free roam into Canyon. Actually, it wouldn't be much.
Alright, cool.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And then the next one is ready?
Yeah, we'll be good after that.
Alright, okay, that was the wrong event. So what I'm now gonna do, so I'm actually gonna, in this game, not only there's Canyon Duel, so you can actually sprint race on these too. So, normally, when you go in a sprint race on a canyon in career mode, actually I'm just gonna show this off quickly. It's gonna be a little bit longer. Let's select Gold Valley Run. When you go in a sprint race in career mode, and you go back to free roam, quit to free roam, it puts you where the event is. That's sort of like so you can't go into the canyons in free roam. But if you wrong warp to the canyons, again the game sort of like enters this weird like glitched state, right? Where like the game is like, you're sort of like in a quick race and a career mode at the same time. But another thing it takes is that if you enter a Actually, no. It doesn't even have to be. What I was gonna say, if you just wrong warp in general, even to via, like you can see, I'm currently wrong warping via an event in career free mode. I'm just gonna change my active crew member, but the event I'm wrong warping via is Gold Rally Run. So I'm gonna change my active crew member, and even though I'm wrong warping via a canyon sprint to a canyon sprint, you can notice this is Eternity Pass. This is not the event we just selected. If I quit out of free roam, it doesn't put me where the event was. We're actually now in the canyon in free roam, and this is the quickest way to get into canyons from free roam. You can actually have police chases and everything in here, so that's another cool glitch. So the canyons in free roam, they actually exist on the map. This is not like a separate map. Everything exists on this like three-dimensional map in the game. So if we still have time for the wrong one, I can actually show off and how to get into the drifting part. But I don't think we have. Not the wrong one, the out of bounds. But I don't think we have time for that anymore, right? Joe, I don't think we have time for it anymore, right? Because the next one is ready.
Yeah, I think we're about to switch over.
All right. In that case,
unless it's quick, then hey, you can go ahead real quick.
No. You need to wait for a crew member challenge, which takes like 2 minutes in itself. So, let's not do it. All right. So, do you have time for shoutouts? Some quick ones.
Yeah.
Alright, so just in general, huge shout out to the entire NFS community, because if there was no community, then obviously tricks like this, glitches like this, the entire category, the things that the entire categories are based off, wouldn't exist, so I probably wouldn't be here nowadays. Especially huge shoutouts to Evil, who used to be the serious moderator for all of Need for Speed and handled like basically everything. Like Evil handled all the moderation for like 26 Need for Speed games on its own. Gigantic shout out. No wonder that he eventually actually got some, moderators. We help out, but like he ran it mostly on himself for like years until he eventually abdicated to Lon, which now runs the series moderation. And shoutouts to Lon as well. Like it's a stressful job being a series moderator for such a large series. Shoutouts to Lucky. Who is it? And I think it's Andrew. Yeah, Andrew. Like all the top runners in this game who are just continuing to push the game. Shoutouts to Martin Fine Esperaro. He's a Banjo-Kazooie runner. I used to watch him. I still watch him. I used to watch him a lot in 2017 at like my worst mental phase. In their streams really helped. They were like the only streamers I watched, and they really helped me get over that phase. Shoutouts to Leon. You know who you are. I'm not gonna say more about that. Again, sorry. And aside from that, I'm pretty much done. So enjoy the next one. I believe that's let me look that up just so I don't be wrong. So just so I'm not wrong here. The next one I believe is Diddy Kong Racing. Hey, that's a DKR relay. Let's go. More racing games.
Yeah. The relay is up next.
Oh yeah, I will be watching that for sure. So enjoy that. And
I'm glad this was the game before, because this was very hype as well.
Racing game vlog. Let's go. Can I shout out other marathons or no?
Yeah, of course.
We have a 5-game racing vlog at Completely Fun in about a week from now. So if you like more racing games, feel free to tune in for that, including Carbon. So. But I think that's it for me, so thanks for watching, everyone, and see ya!
Rolling out. Thanks again for the run, dude. And thanks for the glitch exhibition.
No problem.
Helping us with time and all that. And just for submitting.
No problem. No problem. See ya.
Very much appreciated.